So Infosys is one of the only early investors of OpenAI, which is an Indian company. Now, that's interesting because, hey, they could see the future and they invested way before people thought how powerful AI could be, because now it's pretty obvious it is. But also, because Infosys has invested, we could speculate how this could benefit the company. So if you really think about what Infosys does or ITES services do, it's very simple. There's a business which is trying to cater to a demand. Now that business has an internal process to deliver a product or a service. Now if we divide that product or service into multiple parts, basically you have humans running each part all the way till the end of product delivery and maybe customer service after that. Now the problem is humans, the only way to scale is to add more humans, therefore more cost. Also, humans want offs, they want work timings, they have limitations because one person can only do so much work. But as soon as you say, I'm going to replace this with automation, let me put 010101 here, suddenly a piece of code can run that. A good example is the ATM. When you would visit a bank, you would stand in line in front of a teller, wait for him, tell him your request, give him a request, wait for the request to be approved, he would count the money, and therefore you would withdraw money from your own account. Now, this rarely happens. We go to an ATM, which is an automated version of a teller, but that's why automated teller machine, and you can withdraw money. Save time for the customer, fully automated, better efficiency for the business, also costs less for the business. Anyway, when these items are automated, it brings about efficiency in the business itself and new jobs are created for people to pursue. Now the question is, with AI, and we've all been talking about this, what could be automated? I think one is very clearly Infosys itself. Writing code is something that AI as a co-pilot could actually help, right? And I think Microsoft's AI tool is called Copilot. The second thing is Infosys works a lot with the government. So this is a very bad picture of a government office for me. And imagine when Infosys has to work with the government to serve the country and its people, a lot of these things can be automated. So think about the NPCI backend, which is the National Payments Corporation, is managed by Infosys, and many other IT systems. All that can now benefit from even more efficiency with AI. So I think that's pretty interesting. In fact, even small businesses are being affected by AI in a positive way. We ourselves are running business programs. So if you want to run and build, say, an online product company that is selling items, an e-commerce company, right from building the app all the way to making your first sale is something we teach in that program. Check it out in the description below. And I'm sure you'll really love to see all these stories we see every week of graduates building small businesses and making their first sale. Anyway, the second important and interesting thing about Infosys is loans. You'd think Infosys, like a company, would be able to raise capital pretty easily. But Citibank and Bank of America, both of them said no to this company. But they did get the loan eventually in about 5 days or so from a Karnataka bank. It's KSSIDC and the KSFC. But what's interesting is that in the end, the government came to the rescue for the loan that Infosys needed to grow. In fact, Google's initial funding, or at least way back when they were starting out, also came from the government. The government of America, the NSA and the CIA had research grants for mass surveillance, and Google was asked to build the actual database. Now, we don't know whether that actually happened, but that grant was given to Google. The third fact is even more interesting. You've probably heard of SaaS as a business. Venture capitalists love that word. But the original SaaS, the OG, was actually Infosys. The last time you transacted on, say, ICICI Bank, you went through the Finacle software, which was created by Infosys. So that age going from manual usage of building and running a bank to make it completely online, Finacle had a big point in actually doing that, made by Infosys. This software has almost 1 billion users. Think about it when we talk about social media companies and tech giants saying they have 1 billion users. Think about this. Infosys is one product, Finacle, has 1 billion users. This is the website of Finacle. Let's just see some stuff over here. They are in 100 countries. Remember, this is just one single product. It's present in 1.1 lakh branches. Over 1 billion people use it through the banks, obviously, and millions of business use it as well. And the number of accounts is 1.7 billion. Since it's a B2B business, I think this really makes sense for banks to see. So you can see here that CEOs will think of automation as efficiency eventually affecting the bottom line. And they've basically compared that because so many aspects of the banking system will be automated through their software, they can actually make more money eventually. So I'm sure CEOs love seeing this. Their case studies pages is also interesting. You can see here Union Bank has a case study here. There is UBank. I don't know which country this is from, but definitely not India. Then there is Kasikorn, which is a social bank based out of Thailand. We have an Indonesian bank, a bank from Muscat, and even the Australian military bank uses it. Anyway, point is that penetration leadership is clear here for Infosys, and it's just one product, Finacle. The fourth fact is wealth creation for investors, or people also call this bonus shares. Now, it's very simple. The way a corporation is supposed to work is that you are supposed to invest money or time as an employee in the business. The business is supposed to generate profits by adding value to society and redistribute that profit to people who built the business and the investors. Now, there are a bunch of ways to do this. If you're an investor, it can simply be a bonus or a dividend. But how Infosys has done it is through bonus shares. They've also done dividends, but barring that side, let's look at what the bonus was. It's very simple. In 1993, let's suppose you bought 10 shares and invested rupees 1,400 in this. From June 1993 all the way to 2018, these 10 shares would have grown to 1,552, which means that 1,400 would be about 20 lakh rupees today. That's the shareholder value that they create. Now compare this to the startups today, which have already been juiced out. Kahan se growth aayega? That's my basic problem with the IPOs we were seeing in 2022 and 23. Anyway, this is why Infosys is Infosys and tech startups are, well, tech startups. The fifth fact is that Infosys has actually written its own book. Well, not Infosys, but the Knowledge Institute based in Texas. Think of it as their Bible or their philosophical book on how a company should operate. For example, the book itself talks about everything from the boardroom agenda all the way to the first line employees and focuses on these 5 things: the environment, digital technology and transformation through it. There's energy transmission, social and financial. Think about it. Usually when people talk about business, they talk about money. Sometimes they talk about impact, but what about the rest? This book tries to talk about all of that, and it was launched just in 2022. So it's pretty new. It also talks about 5 essential elements of sustainability. Now, sustainability isn't only environment, like I used to think. We talk about the regenerative future, the circular commerce, human experience, systems, and digital twins. To be honest, I just read this. I have not read the book, but it's interesting that a company has written the philosophy down right here. The book also talks about the triple bottom line, which is money, social, and environment, something that a company has to take care of. I think you also have to take care of your own finances as well. And I think back in school and college, no one really taught us how money works. How does an emergency fund work? How to invest? How to trade? And when LearnApp started off, we started making a lot of videos on this, especially on this YouTube channel, on how to do it. But there's a small problem. The problem is when you watch something, you appreciate it, you like it, you maybe subscribe to it, but it doesn't really change your life because no one is making you make that change in your life. It's the difference between reading a book and having a coach who takes you to gym and makes sure you work out. So to make our own coach and to make sure it's completely free, we launched this thing called the 2-day experience, where if you apply in the link in the description, you have to fill up a form. Let me warn you though that 70% of people are rejected because they want a get quick rich scheme, which the internet promises but actually is not true. And you definitely can't do it in the stock market, but you can generate wealth in the long term. So fill up the form and be part of this 2-day experience where a coach will coach you over 2 days to learn about how investing and trading works in a safe environment along with other people. So if you think that's interesting, do apply. And don't worry if you don't get in the first time, try the second or the third time. Anyway, I hope you thought this was interesting. On all these 4 facts on Infosys, we talked about a bunch of things. The first, we talked about Infosys launched their own book. We talked about the bonus every 3.5 years. We talked about their super product, which earns, I think, $15 billion or more just from this one product, and it's used worldwide. It transformed banking. They were the loans given by the government and not by Citi and Bank of America, which rejected Infosys. And finally, Infosys is an OpenAI investor. If you found any of this interesting and something was new, please put something in the comments below and give a like and a subscribe. We will read every single comment and I will respond to whatever you write. See you in the next video.